when we talk about forecheck, right, we have the dog, the fox, and the hawk. So let's talk about what the dog's role in all this, right? The dog has a simple role. All he has to do is create chaos. In an actual duck dog's life, all he has to do is jump into the bushes and flush out all the birds, okay? He doesn't shoot the birds. He doesn't kill the birds. He doesn't, do anything else after that. We need to get that mindset where no matter whatever route we have to take, however aggressive we have to be, our job is to flush that puck out of their possession, right? Just like flushing a duck out of the bushes. Same mentality. If you're the first man in, you've got to be in there just like a lab. Not this lab, but any other lab, right? Just in there causing chaos. And that puts the whole other thing in motion. You think these guys out there in the prairie can hunt these things without somebody flushing the ducks out? No. So do you think we can get turnovers and more offense if we don't have somebody in there causing these turnovers? No. So we're going to look at some of the forechecks, and we're going to show at the end, we're going to show exactly, sometimes the dog does benefit from his exercise. So first we're going to watch an actual dog cause actual chaos, and then we're going to try to apply it to hockey.
Where is it? Where's that bird at? There's a bird around here.
There you go.
There we go.
Alright, this is setting up as an okay forecheck so far. We've got guys in the right positions. We've got F1 here. We got their guy behind the net. You can see where his eyes are. They're looking at two guys that have, we've got our F2 up there. That would be the fox, and our D on the backside. So none of those guys are open. And then on the backside, we've got another forward. So let's see how this runs. So here's where it broke down. He uses the net as a pick, their puck carrier, and so we kind of lose track of him. He's able to skate away from us towards the corner, and then our second man in backs off a bit. So where he could have read that our first forward was kind of blocked off by the net, he could have dove in and attacked, forced him in the corner while he's on his backhand to make a play sooner. And this is what kind of happens to us a lot, is we get caught in between being either aggressive or passive, and then we end up in no man's land. So while this is going on, though, they're off to the races on the other side. So right now we've got 3 of their guys behind our guys, because on the backside, so once he's committed to that far corner, the puck carrier, we can go ahead and the backside forward can, play the role of that hawk, that high forward, back off, get back in the neutral zone, so we're never put in an odd man situation. So you can see they make another quick pass, and then it's off to the races, and they get another really good chance. This is only 40 seconds into the game. They'd already scored a goal. So let's go on to the next one, where that forecheck in this one coming up actually leads to a goal against, because everyone is too far in. They come in, so you can see their puck carrier comes in, and he's going to go behind the net on his backhand, which is the easiest time for us to pressure him. But what we don't really have is anybody kind of taking the lead. So you can see we have our closest forward is striding, kind of gliding. Second forward is coming in around the corner. He's going to be the one that meets him around the board, so let's play that a little further out. So here's where we get in trouble. No one really comes in to cut him off on the corner, and now we've got 3 guys at the dot. So we've got no hawk here. We don't really even have the fox. We just kind of have 2.5 dogs, which isn't a good thing. So he's coming around. He's got his eyes up. Now our forwards, you can see we're all watching the puck, right? So we should be able to read where his eyes are, and our 2 higher forwards. Now remember, if you can see a guy in front of you, that means you're not the dog. If you can see 2 guys in front of you, that means you're not the fox either. And you've got to kind of know the roles right. the hawk is the one who's reading kind of from higher up. The dog is out there chasing, so one of these guys needs to get in there, force this man to make the pass quicker. Then we need another man just a little further back to pounce on whatever's going to happen and try to make something happen. And then the third guy will read this, and if he's a little higher, so we need this guy up by the blue line mostly, or at least in center, so he can get back on defense. Because what happens here is this play is going to go around. We end up with all three guys way down. So you see we got really low. They chipped it up. They get another pass. They catch the D a little flat-footed. Now they get a breakaway. They score their second goal. This is only 2 minutes into the game. We kind of forechecked ourselves into goals against. So we forechecked, which is supposed to help our offense, and it ended up sparking their offense. What happened here is probably just some communication and some basic, positioning errors. First guy in's got to be in wholeheartedly. Second guy in has got to be able to, read and get ready to pounce. Third guy's got to hang back because we just can't give up these odd man rushes like that. They're too fast these days to hunt them down like that, even with our fastest skaters. So we're going to look at another forecheck right now, same line, and this one is like 95% good. It's just kind of an example of, every forecheck is not going to turn the puck over. But it shows, you'll see a night and day difference between the one we just saw and the one you're about to see and go over. All right, this is shaping up to be a very good forecheck. So we've got our F1 here. The dog is coming in, and he's doing what he needs to do. He's cutting off the momentum. So their puck carrier is swinging around the net to the right, and we're meeting him there and stopping him. Because if you look at what he can see, if he's got his eyes up, he's got two guys up high that are open. All he has to do is throw it around the boards. But because we're getting into his eye line and coming in faster, we're able to force him to panic. Because he does panic here, and what he's going to do next is kind of what we want from our forechecking. So it's a good job forechecking here. Our other forward here on the left is doing a good job, ready to pounce on something. The only critique would be maybe our F3 should be a little higher because we've still got three forwards above our highest forward, which if he did make the correct read and get it out of the zone, now we're looking at a 3-on-2 the other way. So we've got to keep that F3 higher so he's able to watch that. But the attack part of this forecheck was really good. Okay, this is exactly what we want out of that first forechecker, right? We want him on top of the puck. He's there. He cuts off the momentum. You're going to see him forces this play to reverse. Now, take a look at where our other two forwards are, right? We don't have any foxes anywhere. In fact, we got two basically hawks, which on the right side, that's fine. That's where you want to be. That's probably where the play was headed. So the higher up, the better. On the other side, you can see we've got two of our guys standing pretty much next to each other for one skater. So we need that forward down, by that Powerade logo, ready to pounce, and that's where that puck's going. So ideally, so this is where we kind of, the dog on this forecheck does his job, forces a play. Obviously, it goes to his own skater. But if we're cycling through on our forecheck, so remember, one guy comes in, he's the original dog, he forces a play somewhere else, another guy picks it up, well, we need another dog for that, right? And if we're too far away, we're not able to continue the pressure. Good forecheck on the first side, but it's a three-person effort. We've got to be picking each other up. And we're going to end on, a positive note. So this is from the game before. This is when our forechecker, you can see, right? This is why we have to have that first guy in. Great forecheck. He comes in, forces the play, stops the momentum. causes chaos, and this is what can happen, but you have to be in close, right? I mean, you're gonna see this play. It was a goal. We stopped the momentum going to the right, and then the puck carrier panics, tries to pass it the other way, ends up bouncing it off his own net right to our guy, and we get a goal. A smart, aggressive forecheck. Let's make this pay off coming forward.